She said, "Everybody has open relationships now. Don't be insecure." After I found her texts, so I let her have her freedom and moved out quietly. Now she's panicking that none of her options want anything serious. Hey Reddit, buckle up because this is going to be a long one. Using a throwaway because some people in this story know my main account. This all went down about 8 months ago, and I'm finally ready to share it. Before anyone asks, yes, this is real. No, I'm not making it up for karma. And yes, I have receipts for everything I'm about to tell you. I need to give you some background first, so this all makes sense. I, 29 male, and I work as a senior financial analyst at one of the big investment firms downtown. Not trying to flex, but I make about $175,000 a year plus bonuses, which becomes important later. I grew up middle class, worked my tail off to get through college on scholarships, and landed this job about 5 years ago. I'm not flashy with money. I drive a paid-off Honda Accord and lived, in a nice but not extravagant 2-bedroom condo downtown. I meal prep on Sundays, have a modest watch collection, and my biggest splurge is probably my gaming PC setup. Enter my best friend since college. Let's call him Tommy. This dude is the most genuine person you'll ever meet. 6'4" former college basketball player who became a corporate lawyer but still acts like we're in the dorms playing video games until 4 a.m. He's got this infectious energy where he can walk into any room and make friends with everyone, but he's also the guy who'll tell you straight up when you're being an idiot. He remembers every birthday, shows up when you need help moving, and has this weird talent for doing spot-on impressions of our old professors. He's basically the brother I never had, and his judgment of character is usually spot on. This becomes very relevant. So about 3 years ago, Tommy invites me to this networking event at some fancy rooftop lounge. I'm not a social butterfly. I prefer spreadsheets to small talk. But Tommy insisted. You need to get out more, Ryan. Your best friend shouldn't be your financial calculator app. The event was one of those tech startup mixer things where everyone's trying to seem more successful than they actually are. You know the type. Lots of people in blazers talking about disrupting industries they don't understand. That's where I met Vanessa. Picture this. Brazilian-Italian mix, about 5'8". The kind of woman who turns heads just walking to get coffee. Perfectly styled hair, designer dress that probably cost more than most people's rent, those subtle expensive highlights that make hair look naturally sun-kissed. She was holding court with a group of people, animated, laughing, commanding attention without even trying. Everyone in her orbit was hanging on every word, and she knew it. I'm standing there in my standard navy blazer and khakis, feeling like a background character in her movie. Tommy sees me staring and says, "That's Vanessa. She's in marketing or branding or something. Knows everyone, but nobody really knows what she actually does. Way out of your league, bro." But here's the thing. I've always been good at analyzing patterns. It's literally my job. I evaluate risk, spot trends, see things others miss. And I noticed something. She kept checking her phone with this anxious look whenever she thought nobody was watching. The laugh was a little too loud, the smile a little too practiced. She touched her hair every time someone important walked by. She was performing, and performances are exhausting. I waited until she went to get water. Top shelf liquor was everywhere, but she was drinking water. Interesting. Walked up and said, "Long night?" She looked at me with this expression like I was interrupting something important. One of those looks that's meant to make you feel small. "Excuse me? You've been nursing that same water for an hour. Either you're the designated driver, or you're working." Her fake smile wavered for a second. "And what makes you think I'm working?" "Because you've handed out exactly 12 business cards, took photos with 4 different groups for what I'm assuming is social media content, and you keep checking your phone like you're tracking metrics. Plus, your feet are killing you in those heels, but you won't sit down because it would ruin the image." For the first time all night, her real smile appeared. It was completely different from the practiced one. Slightly crooked, reached her eyes. "You've been watching me?" Occupational hazard. I analyze things for a living. What kind of things? Investment portfolios? Risk assessment? Patterns? Basically, I'm professionally boring. So what's your analysis of me? You're brilliant at what you do. Probably underpaid, definitely overworked, and you haven't eaten since lunch because you spent 2 hours getting ready for this thing. She laughed. A real laugh this time. Not the performative one from earlier. "You're wrong about one thing." What's that?" "I haven't eaten since yesterday's lunch." That's how it started. I bought her a pretzel from a street vendor at 11 p.m. She ate it like it was a 5-star meal, getting mustard on her expensive dress and laughing about it. We talked until 3 a.m., sitting on a bench in the little park across from the venue. She was a brand strategist for startups, making about $45,000 a year, but working like she was curing cancer. Smart, funny, ambitious. She told me about growing up with immigrant parents who sacrificed everything for her education, how she felt like she was constantly trying to prove she deserved their investment. I know the hustle, I said. Scholarship kid. I used to calculate the cost of every class I attended to motivate myself to stay awake during economics lectures. Did it work? Fell asleep anyway. Turns out fear of wasting money is less powerful than an 8 a.m. class after staying up coding all night. We exchanged numbers. First date was supposed to be coffee but turned into lunch. Then a walk through the museum district. Then dinner at this hole-in-the-wall Vietnamese place she knew about. She ordered for us in perfect Vietnamese. Turns out she collected languages like some people collect stamps. By the end of the night, my face hurt from smiling so much. We started dating. The first year was incredible. She'd show up at my office with takeout from whatever food truck she'd discovered, always remembering I hated cilantro and loved extra lime. I'd help her with financial projections for her clients, teaching her Excel shortcuts that made her call me a wizard. We'd spend weekends at farmers markets where she'd charm vendors into giving us free samples, then try to recreate whatever we bought with varying degrees of failure. She introduced me to Brazilian music. I got her into true crime podcasts. We had this running joke about finding the worst reviewed restaurant on Yelp and seeing if it was really that bad. It usually was. She made me more adventurous. I made her more structured. It felt like that rare thing, a relationship where you both genuinely made each other better. Tommy liked her at first. "She's good for you," he said, after meeting her properly at my birthday dinner. "You actually leave your apartment now, and you smile like a normal human instead of that weird thing you do when you're thinking about compound interest." I was smitten. When she complained about her roommate from hell, who apparently thought 3 a.m. was the perfect time to practice violin, I offered to let her move in after just 6 months. When her car broke down, I helped her buy a newer one. Nothing fancy, just a reliable Camry. When she wanted to take a certification course in digital marketing, I covered the $3,500 cost without thinking twice. "I'll pay you back," she always said, keeping this detailed list in her phone of everything she owed me. "We're a team," I always replied. "Your success is my success. When you're running your own agency, you can buy me a Tesla." She'd kiss me and say, "Model S or Model 3? Surprise me." God, I was naive. Year 2 is when things started changing. Slowly at first, like a faucet dripping. Annoying, but not enough to call a plumber. You tell yourself you'll fix it eventually, then you just get used to the sound. She quit her job to start her own consulting firm. "I can't build someone else's dream anymore," she said during one of our Sunday morning coffee talks. "I need to bet on myself. You understand that, right? You're always talking about calculated risks and ROI. Well, I'm investing in me." I supported it. Of course I did. Covered all our expenses while she built her client base. Converted the spare bedroom into an office. Bought her a standing desk and a professional camera for content creation. I spent a whole weekend building her a website, creating financial projections showing how long we could sustain one income. 18 months comfortably, 24 if we tightened up. "You're amazing," she said, watching me work on her site. "I don't deserve you." Stop that. We're building something together. But instead of hustling for clients, she spent most days networking. Long lunches that turned into dinners. Weekend workshops that were basically parties with name tags. She joined this entrepreneurs club that seemed to have mandatory daily meetings at expensive restaurants. She started hanging out with this woman, Madison, who fascinated and worried me in equal measure. Madison was one of those people who seemed to have unlimited money despite no visible job. Designer everything. New car every year. Constant vacations to places I had to Google. She spoke in buzzwords and manifestation quotes, every sentence sounding like it came from a motivational poster designed by someone having a breakdown. "She's teaching me about passive income," Vanessa explained after another 8-hour business meeting with Madison. "You can't just trade time for money forever. That's what poor people do." "I trade time for money," I pointed out. "That's different. You have a career. I'm talking about true wealth, the kind where money works for you instead of you working for money." The apartment became a revolving door of Vanessa's new friends. I'd come home from a 12-hour day analyzing merger proposals to find strangers doing yoga in my living room or having vision board parties with craft supplies everywhere. Our refrigerator became covered in affirmation sticky notes. I once found one on my coffee maker that said, "You are worthy of abundance." I just wanted caffeine. "Don't be so uptight," she'd say, when I expressed frustration about finding glitter in my keyboard. This is called networking. Not everyone builds wealth sitting in a cubicle. I didn't sit in a cubicle. I had a corner office with a view of the river. But pointing that out only started fights about my need to be right all the time. Tommy noticed the change before I did. She's different, he said during one of our gym sessions. Remember when she used to ask about your day? Now she just talks about her journey and manifesting abundance. What does that even mean? She's finding herself, I defended. Starting a business is stressful. What business? What does she actually sell? I couldn't answer that. Her website said she offered brand transformation strategies and authentic connection consulting, but I'd yet to see an actual client or invoice. The real change came when she discovered what she called relationship evolution content online. Every day she'd share videos about toxic monogamy culture and expanding your love consciousness. Our shared tablets algorithm went from cooking videos and movie trailers to people explaining why wanting one partner was basically emotional imprisonment. She started following these influencers who posted things like, if you truly love someone, you'll want them to experience everything life has to offer over sunset backgrounds. She'd read me quotes from books with titles like The Ethical Slut and Opening Up During Dinner. Interesting perspective, I'd say, trying to keep the peace. Is it, though? Or are you just dismissing it because it challenges your worldview? One night, she paused Netflix mid-episode and said, Ryan, we need to talk about our relationship structure. Our what? I've been doing a lot of self-work, and I think we're limiting ourselves. How? By subscribing to outdated monogamous paradigms. Can you say that in English? She rolled her eyes like I was a child who couldn't understand basic math. I think we should consider opening our relationship. I laughed. I actually thought she was joking. We'd just spent the previous weekend looking at furniture together, talking about maybe getting a dog. Yeah, and I think we should consider me becoming an astronaut. Her face went cold. I'm being serious. So am I. That's about as likely as me agreeing to this. What followed was 3 hours of her explaining how I was stuck in possessive patterns, how jealousy was just ego, how true love meant wanting your partner to experience everything life had to offer. She had articles bookmarked, YouTube videos queued up, even a spreadsheet of polyamorous couples who'd been together for decades. You made a spreadsheet? I asked, incredulous. I'm being thorough. This is our future we're talking about. No, this is you wanting to sleep with other people while keeping me as your safety net. That's such a reductive way to frame it. But accurate. You're impossible, she said, storming off to the bedroom. I slept on the couch, in my own apartment. It became a pattern. Tommy's reaction when I told him, Bro, she made a spreadsheet? That's premeditated relationship homicide. She's been planning this. Maybe she's just confused, I said. Madison's been filling her head with all this stuff. Madison's not the one sharing your bed, paying your bills, and building your website. You are. And she's basically telling you you're not enough. The next 3 months were torture. Every day brought new attacks on my boundaries, disguised as enlightenment. She turned our home into a psychological battlefield where I was always the bad guy for wanting basic respect. She'd leave her dating apps open on her phone where I could see them. Tinder, Bumble, something called Field that I had to Google, wish I hadn't. When I asked about it, she'd say, I'm just window shopping. You window shop for watches online, same thing. Watches don't text me at 2 a.m. asking if I'm up. You're being controlling again. This is exactly what Dr. Martinez talks about. Oh yeah, she'd started seeing a therapist. Not for her issues, but to help process my toxic behaviors. She'd come back from sessions armed with psychological terms to weaponize against me. I was codependent, emotionally unavailable, and stuck in anxious attachment patterns. She started going out more. Girls' nights that lasted until sunrise. When I asked where she'd been, I was interrogating her like a criminal. When I didn't ask, I was emotionally absent. She'd get dressed up in outfits I'd never seen, spray perfume I didn't recognize, and leave with her phone on silent. Where are you going? I'd ask. Out. Where? Why does it matter? Do you need to track my every movement? I'm just asking a normal question. Nothing about your possessiveness is normal, Ryan. The manipulation was masterful. She'd create problems, then position herself as the victim when I reacted. Leave her location off, then act hurt when I worried. Gaslight me about conversations we'd had. I told you I was staying at Madison's last night. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. You just don't listen. Too busy with your spreadsheets to care about my life. I started writing things down in my phone just to keep track of reality. Date, time, what was said. It felt crazy, but I needed proof I wasn't losing my mind. Tommy kept me sane. She's got you thinking up is down and left is right. That's not enlightenment, that's manipulation. My ex tried the same thing. Made me feel crazy for expecting basic respect. The breaking point came during what she called an honesty session. She'd lit candles, put on meditation music, made tea, the whole production. I should have known something bad was coming. She only made tea when she was about to drop a bomb. I need to share something with you in the spirit of radical transparency, she began, sitting cross-legged on the couch in her yoga clothes. My stomach dropped. Okay, I've been exploring connections with other people. What does that mean? I've been on some dates, nothing physical, just expanding my network. You've been dating while we're together? Dating is such a limited term. I've been exploring platonic intimacy? Did you kiss anyone? Long pause. She sipped her tea. Kissing isn't necessarily sexual. Did you kiss anyone? You're focusing on the wrong things. I stood up. I'm focusing on my girlfriend kissing other men. Person, not men. Person. Sam is non-binary, and Jordan identifies as fluid. I don't care if they identify as a Toyota Corolla. You cheated. I expanded. There's a difference. If you'd read the articles I sent you, I'm not reading articles about why it's okay for you to cheat on me, Vanessa. She started crying, but not real tears. Those calculated ones that stop the second they've served their purpose. This is why I couldn't tell you. You're so closed-minded, so judgmental. I slept on the couch again. In the morning, she acted like nothing happened, humming while making breakfast, kissing my forehead when I left for work. The whiplash was insane. I started seeing my own therapist. First session, I showed him the texts, the gaslighting, the manipulation. He looked at me over his glasses and said, "You know this is emotional abuse, right? But she says I'm the one who—" Ryan, this is textbook emotional abuse. The question is, what are you going to do about it? I might have stayed in that psychological torture chamber forever, making excuses, believing her lies, accepting scraps of affection between the manipulation. But technology betrayed her. See, when you're not tech-savvy and you're juggling multiple lies, you make mistakes. She'd created a shared photo album months ago for us to dump photos for a scrapbook she never made. Called it Our Love Story, which in hindsight is hilarious. She forgot about it, but her phone kept auto-uploading everything to the cloud. I was at work on a Tuesday, reviewing quarterly projections, when the notification started. New photos added to Our Love Story. I clicked expecting to see selfies from her coffee shop networking. Instead, I saw Vanessa at restaurants I didn't recognize, with men I'd never met. Fancy places too, the kind with cloth napkins and sommeliers. Then more photos. Vanessa at concerts I didn't know she'd attended. Vanessa on a boat. Whose boat? Vanessa in a hotel room holding champagne. The metadata showed the Ritz-Carlton downtown. When had she been at the Ritz? Then the one that broke me. Vanessa in my bed. Our bed. The one we'd picked out together at IKEA, arguing about thread count. With someone else. Timestamp? Last Tuesday, 2:47 p.m. When I was at work, in meetings, earning the money that paid for that bed. I zoomed in. She was wearing the lingerie I'd bought her for Valentine's Day. The champagne on the nightstand was the bottle I'd been saving for our anniversary. I stared at my monitor for 20 minutes. The numbers on my spreadsheet blurred. My assistant knocked to remind me about a meeting. I told her to cancel everything. Called Tommy. I need you to meet me at my apartment in an hour. Everything okay? Bring boxes. Oh, snap, it's happening? It's happening. He showed up with boxes, packing tape, bubble wrap, and his paralegal. Just in case things get legal, he explained. I showed him the photos. He whistled low. In your bed? That's disrespectful on another level. That's spitting in your face, then charging you for the privilege. Help me pack her stuff. With pleasure. Where do we start? We worked methodically. Everything that was hers went into boxes. Clothes, jewelry, her vision board covered in pictures of luxury cars and tropical destinations, the self-help book she never read, spine still pristine, the yoga mat she used twice before it became decoration. I was generous, included things I'd bought for her. The laptop, the camera equipment, the online course materials she'd insisted were investments in our future. While packing, we found more evidence. A journal hidden in her underwear drawer where she'd written about her journey to polyamory that started 8 months ago. 8 months. She'd been planning this before she even brought it up. One entry. Ryan is so traditional. He'll never understand that love isn't ownership. Maybe when I show him how much happier I am with multiple partners, he'll evolve. Or maybe I'll evolve past him. Either way, I'm following my truth. Another. Marcus took me to Chez Laurent tonight. $500 dinner, and all I had to do was listen to him talk about crypto. Ryan would never spend that on a random Tuesday. The universe is showing me abundance exists outside my current situation. Tommy read them out loud in a dramatic voice to make me laugh. It worked, kind of. Following her truth? Her truth is she belongs to the streets. We found receipts for hotels, lingerie I'd never seen, a pregnancy test box. Negative, thank God. A whole secret life funded by my stability while she played entrepreneur. We loaded everything into a storage unit across town. I prepaid for 3 months because I'm not a monster. Even got climate control because some of her designer clothes would probably mold in regular storage. Then I changed the locks. Perfectly legal. She wasn't on the lease, just an authorized occupant. The last thing I did was print out the photos she'd accidentally uploaded. Not all of them. I'm not trying to hurt her, just make a point. Just the ones in my bed, the hotel room, and one of her kissing someone at what looked like Madison's pool party. Left them on the kitchen counter with a note. You evolved. I adapted. Your belongings are at Secure Store Unit 47B. 3 months paid. Here's the key. Don't contact me. Ryan P.S. Maybe check your cloud settings. Your love story took an interesting plot twist. She came home at 11:17 p.m. I know the exact time because I was at Tommy's place watching my security camera feed on my phone. Judge me all you want. I needed to see her reaction for closure. She tried her key. Confusion. Tried again. Pulled harder like the door was just stuck. Checked the apartment number, like maybe she was at the wrong place. Then pulled out her phone, probably to text me. Saw my message. If you're at the door, the kitchen counter has something for you. 17 calls in 5 minutes. My phone lighting up like a Christmas tree. Then the text started flooding in. What is this? Ryan, what did you do? You can't lock me out. This is my home. Ryan, please. Let me explain. Those photos aren't what they look like. I have nowhere to go. Please answer. This is illegal. I'm calling the police. You're going to regret this. Baby, please. I can explain everything. She did call the police. They arrived, ran her ID, told her it was a civil matter since she wasn't on the lease and her belongings were safely stored with access provided. She tried to argue, even showed them old mail with her name. But without a lease or ownership, they couldn't do anything. She called Tommy next. We expected this. She'd gotten his number from my phone months ago. He answered on speaker, using his professional lawyer voice. Vanessa, I'm representing Ryan in this matter. Please direct all communication through writing. Representing? Tommy, we're friends. We had dinner last month. We were friends. Past tense. You violated my boy's trust and disrespected his home. That changes things. This is insane. I was finding myself. Exploring my identity. Well, you can explore your identity at the storage unit. Your belongings are safe, access has been provided, and the unit is paid for 90 days. That's more than legally required. Where am I supposed to go? I'd suggest calling one of your other connections. The universe will provide, right? Good night. She spent the night in her car in the visitor parking. I know because she live-streamed it on Instagram, crying about toxic masculinity and how she was homeless because she dared to love freely. The mascara running down her face was admittedly dramatic. The comments were not sympathetic. Girl, maybe don't cheat next time. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Team Ryan, honestly. This is what accountability looks like, hun. The universe said not in this man's house. She dirty deleted the video after an hour when someone commented with screenshots of her at the Ritz with Marcus. The next morning, she tried a different approach. Posted a photo of herself from better times with a long caption about surviving emotional abuse and rebuilding from nothing. Tagged my company, my LinkedIn, even my mother's Facebook. How she found that, I don't know. Some people can't handle a strong woman who knows her worth. They'd rather destroy than evolve. But I'm a phoenix, and I'll rise from these ashes stronger than ever. To everyone checking on me, I'm safe. To my abuser, I forgive you. Your karma is coming. Survivor. Emotional abuse. Narcissistic abuse. Phoenix. Rising strong. Tommy screenshotted immediately. She really hashtagged Phoenix? And tagged your mom? Oh, she's spiraling. The next few weeks were a masterclass in what happens when someone who's never faced consequences suddenly faces all of them at once. She went through the 5 stages of grief, but added bonus stages like social media manipulation, financial terrorism, and delusional bargaining. First, she tried the sympathy route hard, posted constantly about being a survivor of emotional abuse and how she was rebuilding from nothing. Created a whole narrative where she was the victim of a controlling partner who couldn't handle her growth, posted my photo with devil horns drawn on, called me a narcissist, tagged my company again. My boss called me in the next day. Ryan, what's this about? He showed me his phone. Someone had sent him screenshots. I pulled out my phone, showed him everything. The photos, the journal entries, the texts. His eyes got wider with each swipe. In your own bed? While I was here working on the Mitchell account. The Tuesday we had that emergency meeting? Yep. He leaned back in his chair. Take a few days if you need them. And get her to take that post down. It's defamation at this point. Legal will back you up if needed. Tommy sent a cease and desist letter that afternoon. She took the posts down, but replaced them with vague quotes about being silenced by the system and wealthy men using power to control women's voices. Then came the financial phase. She suddenly remembered every dinner she'd ever bought. I counted 7 in 2 years. Every gift she'd given me, mostly cards and a tie, and calculated what she called domestic labor for cooking and cleaning. Her invoice came to $47,000. The breakdown was insane. Cooking, $200 per hour, x 2 hours per week, x 104 weeks, $41,600. Cleaning, $50 per hour, x 2 hours per week, x 104 weeks equals $10,400. Emotional labor, $100 per hour, x countless hours equals $15,000. Career consulting, $250 per hour, x 20 hours, $5,000. She charged you for emotional labor? Tommy laughed. While she was cheating? The audacity is almost impressive. She threatened small claims court. Tommy counter-threatened with a real lawsuit for theft of services, citing the months of rent, $2,800 per month, utilities, food, trips, gifts, and luxuries I'd provided. His invoice came to $73,000, and he had receipts for everything. She backed down within 48 hours. But the real escalation came when she showed up at my office building. Tuesday afternoon, I'm in a meeting when security calls up. Mr. Chen, there's a Vanessa here claiming she's your fiancé. Says there's been a misunderstanding and she needs to see you urgently. I don't have a fiancé. She's quite insistent and loud. I'll be right down. She was in the lobby, dressed like she was going to a funeral, probably for our relationship. Full makeup, push-up bra visible under her black dress, designer heels. Playing the wounded lover role to perfection. Had a small audience of people pretending not to watch. Ryan! She rushed toward me. Security stepped forward, but I waved them off. We need to talk. We don't. You owe me a conversation. You can't just throw someone out like trash. I didn't. Your belongings are safely stored. You have access. What more do you want? I want my life back. I want my home. It was never your home. You were a guest who overstayed her welcome. She started crying. Full performance. How can you be so cruel? After everything we've been through. Everything we've been through? You mean you cheating? You gaslighting me? You trying to manipulate me into accepting it? I made a mistake. Several. Repeatedly. In my bed. The audience was riveted. Someone was definitely recording. Can we please talk in private? She begged. Fine. 2 minutes. Outside. We went to the plaza. The second we were alone, the tears stopped like someone turned off a faucet. You're ruining my life, she hissed. How? By not funding it anymore? I have nowhere to live. Madison won't return my calls. My parents are asking questions. Do you know how embarrassing this is? Embarrassing? Try finding another woman in your bed wearing lingerie you bought her. She had the decency to flinch. I was confused. Madison kept telling me monogamy was a prison, and I believed her. I see now that was wrong. Where's Madison now? She won't return my calls. None of them will. They say I'm too much drama. Ah, the truth. Her poly friend group abandoned her once she couldn't pay for brunches and bottle service. Shocking. Not my problem. Ryan, please, I love you. Only you. I see that now. The others meant nothing. The others? Plural? How many others, Vanessa? She looked away. That doesn't matter now. It does to me. 3, maybe 4. But they were just... Stop. Just stop. She grabbed my arm. I'll do anything. Therapy. Counseling. I'll sign a contract saying I'll never see anyone else. I'll delete all my social media. I'll cut off Madison and everyone else. Please. Vanessa, I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on Earth and the future of humanity depended on it. She stopped crying instantly. The switch was remarkable, like watching someone take off a mask. You'll regret this, she said coldly. Doubt it. I'll ruin you. I'll tell everyone what kind of man you really are. Which is what? A man who expects faithfulness? How scandalous. You're nothing special, you know. Just another boring finance bro with a god complex. I was settling for you. Settling? You were unemployed living off me while sleeping with randos. But sure, you were settling. Security had moved closer, watching through the glass doors. I hope you die alone, she spat. Better alone than with you. She stormed off, heels clicking on the pavement. Security escorted her off the premises and added her to the ban list. She tried to come back twice more over the next week. They turned her away both times. Vanessa's life imploded spectacularly. Her consulting firm never got off the ground. Hard to build a business when you spend all day making TikToks about your healing journey and DMing men with entrepreneur in their bio. She moved back with her parents in the suburbs, got a job at her dad's accounting firm doing data entry, went from CEO of my own destiny to please remember to refill the printer paper, posted about starting from the bottom and humble beginnings, like it was inspirational instead of consequences. The guys she was exploring connections with vanished like smoke. Marcus, the crypto bro, ghosted her when he realized the Bank of Ryan was closed. Sam, the non-binary artist, found someone else within a week. Jordan, the fluid entrepreneur, turned out he was married and just wanted a side piece. She tried to rebrand as a relationship coach, teaching about conscious uncoupling and navigating polyamory. The internet destroyed her. Someone found her old posts about me being controlling and put them side by side with her recent posts about accountability in relationships. The ratio was brutal. 6 months after I kicked her out, she sent one last email to my work address. Ryan, I know you hate me. I don't blame you. I destroyed the best thing in my life because I thought I deserved more. Turns out I deserved exactly what I got. Nothing. You were right about everything. I was selfish, manipulative, and cruel. I convinced myself I was evolved when really I was just greedy. I wanted the security you provided while shopping for something better. That's not polyamory. That's just being a terrible person. I'm in therapy now. Real therapy. Not YouTube videos about chakras and manifesting. My therapist says I have narcissistic tendencies and commitment issues from childhood trauma. Not an excuse, just an explanation. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that you did nothing wrong. You loved me completely, and I threw it away for men who won't even save my number. I saw the announcement about your promotion. You look happy in the photos. I hope Sarah, yes, I saw her comment, appreciates what she has. A man who loves with his whole heart and doesn't keep one foot out the door. Thank you for the storage unit. That 3 months gave me time to figure things out when everyone else abandoned me. Even in anger, you showed more kindness than I ever did. I'm sorry for all of it. I read it twice, showed it to Tommy over lunch. You gonna respond? What would be the point? Closure? I got closure when I changed the locks. This is just her trying to feel better about herself. Fair. So what did you do with it? Archived it. If she ever tries to claim I was abusive, I have her admitting the truth in writing. Smart. Always thinking 3 steps ahead. I deleted the email, blocked the address, moved on with my life. Last week I ran into her at a coffee shop. She was behind me in line, saw me before I saw her. When I turned around, she was already heading for the door. Made eye contact for a split second. She looked tired, older somehow. Then she was gone. Probably the most considerate thing she'd ever done for me. Tommy and I were having lunch yesterday when he brought up the whole saga. You know what the wildest part was? He said, stealing fries from my plate. What? She really thought you'd take her back. Like genuinely believed you'd be waiting when her little experiment failed. That's the thing about people who think they're the main character, I said. They forget other people can write them out of the story. Bars, Tommy laughed. Absolute bars. You should put that on a t-shirt. Pass. I'm done with that chapter. Speaking of chapters, when's the wedding? Slow down. We've only been together 6 months. Yeah, but she's got her own money, her own career, and she thinks your spreadsheet hobby is cute. Lock that down. He wasn't wrong. Sarah's great. Last week she surprised me with tickets to a financial conference I'd mentioned wanting to attend. I know it's nerdy, she said, but you light up when you talk about this stuff. When I tried to pay her back, she laughed. I make doctor money, remember? Let me treat my boyfriend to his version of Disneyland.